Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Rashad Mitchell. Come to you live from my YouTube channel as I continue on the part series of the week that was college football history and review, the 1956 college football season. Now I'm going to be talking about the games that were played during the week 8 slated games in week 8 from November 10th to 1956. But also at this time, a lot of games were played on Fridays. Obviously, the Thanksgiving games too were played on Fridays, on Thursdays as well. So I'm gonna go backtrack to the day before November 10th, 1956, and talk about November 9th, 1956, on a Friday, where Miami played Florida State. But this is the week that was week 8 of the 1956 college football season, November 10th, 1956, week 8. So let's get into it. On a Friday, November 9th, 1956, number 8 Miami. They were ranked in the top 10 at the time in the mid-50s. Now again, Miami didn't become a powerhouse obviously until the 80s, truly. They had some teams that were pretty good in the 60s and things like that. But in the 70s, the things kind of fell off. And then when Howard Schnellenberger became the coach of Miami, that's when the Canes became what they were. He built that program into what would become years to come. So you gotta give credit to Howard Schnellenberger for turning around that Miami program. And when he came the coach in '79, I believe, in '79. But in the '50s, in the '60s, at times, Miami was a top 25, top 20 team. Not a national championship team, but they could have won a championship, but they were respectable at times. But anyway, during this period of time, they were number 8 in the country. And they played their arch rivals, obviously Florida State. And they beat Florida State 20-7 as the number 8 team in the country. Miami's undefeated but slightly bored Hurricanes owned opening 3 quarters, then dozed as spunky Seminoles converted in fourth quarter. Florida State was kept on its side of 50-yard line for the first 3 quarters with only 35 yards of offense. So on passing wing of third team quarterback Ted Roderick, FSU gained 120 yards, 82 yards in the air in the fourth quarter. But earlier, Miami sub quarterbacks Joe Plevel and Bonnie Yarbrough had grilled Seminoles defense. So move from a halfback to replace injured quarterback Sam Skornecchia, Plevel spun away for a 16-yard run to set up his 1-yard touchdown wedge in the first quarter and dashed off left tackle for 14-yard touchdown in the third quarter. Yarbrough hit 4 passes. Fullback Don Bosler ran for 26 yards on a 94-yard touchdown drive in the second quarter. FSU threatened 3 times in fourth quarter, but only converted halfback Lee Corso's 2-yard slash with 2:59 left in the ball game. So now let's get into the games that were played on Saturday, November 10th, 1956, week 8. Okay, next game you had number 12 Navy played Duke, and this matchup resulted in a tie, 7-7, as Duke Blue Devils managed third deadlock with Navy in the last 4 years, as Duke and Bob Benson was interfered with at Navy 1-yard line by guard linebacker Jim Howard in key moment midway through the fourth quarter. Quarterback Sonny Jurgensen, who went 14-22 passing, pushed over for tying touchdown on next play. Middies had taken 7-0 lead as quarterback Tom Forrestal clicked on pass for 55 yards of 83-yard drive to halfback Paul Goldberg. Goldberg's 1-yard touchdown run. Each team missed field goals in the last 3 minutes. Duke kicker Jim Harris was well short with field goal try in game's last play, and Navy halfback Chet Burchett raced it back 50 yards before being hauled down. Losing a fair left Navy without any of his first string backfield in closing stages, while Harris, who missed field goal, was his team's third choice due to Drew injuries to top kickers Bernie Blaney, Buddy Bass. All right, now I'm done with that. Navy and Duke ended in a tie 7-7. So now I'm gonna get into the game of the year. And the thing about looking at doing this part series about the college football seasons is that I'm gonna be talking about the games of the year that took place during that season. And I have it right in front of me. The game of the year was in 1956 season, obviously during the 1956 season was on November 10th, 1956, where number two Georgia Tech was shut out by number 3 Tennessee 6-0. Now this contest has come to be considered by many as the greatest Southern style defensive battle of all time, because punts ruled game strategy as teams total 23 between them, often booting on second or third down. Volunteer sub tailback Bobby Gordon punted 3 times for 57.6 average, including punt of 72 yards. So conservative was climate that after halfback George Volker ran 21 yards into Volunteers territory in first quarter. Georgia Tech coach Bobby Dodd chose to punt on 4th and 4 at 28-yard line. Engineers fullback Ken Owen advanced to Volunteers 17-yard line in second quarter, but lost fumble when slammed by tackle defensive tackle Jim Smelker. Kicker Sam Burklow of Tennessee missed long field goal just before halftime. Winning score came in third quarter as Volunteers started at own 35-yard line. Fullback Tommy Bronson made 3 yards and tailback Johnny Majors hit in Buddy Cruz with 16-yard square out pass. Cruz realized coverage had loosened and asked in huddle for another throw. Cruz cut inside to beat halfback cornerback Paul Rotenberry for Major's next pass, and when quarterback safety Wade Mitchell, Georgia Tech star of secondary, tried to switch tackling shoulders to protect an injury to left shoulder, Cruz squirted away. He galloped 45 yards to Tech 1-yard line, pulled down finally by Owen, who came from far side of the field. So Bronson twisted through for touchdown on next play. Engineers managed late threat, ending as quarterback Toppy Vance suffered interception by Bronson at the Volunteers 9-yard line. But total offense was virtually even as Georgia Tech gained 198 yards and Tennessee 177 yards. Volunteers defense stars were center linebacker Bubba Howe, guard Bruce Burnham, and Roger Obano, and tackles John Gordy and Charles Rader. Charles Rader. For Georgia Tech, it was center linebacker Don Stevenson, tackle Carl Vereen, and guard Leon Askew. Now afterward, Tennessee coach Bowden Wyatt Light Dodd, disciple of old school coach Robert Nealon, was asked why Dodd didn't try for 4 yards on 4th down in the first quarter, and Wyatt snarled because he wouldn't have made it. That was a quote from Wyatt, Bowden Wyatt of Tennessee. So that was the game of the year, man. 1956, November 10th was Tennessee, the number 3 team in the country at the time, beating Georgia Tech, number 2 team at the time. So now let's get into the next game. Florida shut out Georgia 28-0. See, Florida was ranked number 13 in the country. Georgia wasn't ranked. They was 3-4-1. So number 13 Florida shut out Georgia by a score of 28-0 in Jacksonville. So hot Florida won its 5th straight contest in trouncing rival Georgia. Part of fresh backfield that entered game well into the first quarter. Gators halfback Bernie Parrish battered left side for 3-yard touchdown. It was fifth run play after quarterback Harry Spears opened series near midfield. The 15-yard pass to fullback Ed Sears. Now trailing 7-0 early in the third quarter, Bulldogs quarterback defensive back Billy Hearn and guard Tony Cushenberry recovered fumbles at Gators' 27 and 25-yard lines. But each time Florida defense led by guard linebacker John Barrow halted the Georgia. So Gators' second stop was authored by fullback defensive back Joe Brodsky, who had 2 interceptions, who made a 64-yard interception return from his goal line. So halfback Jim Roundtree gave Florida 14-0 lead with 36-yard cutback run on next play. Roundtree added 25-yard touchdown catch from quarterback Jimmy Dunn in the fourth quarter. Next, we got Kentucky playing against Vanderbilt. Kentucky beat Vanderbilt 7-6. Now, for the fourth time in 3 years, foot of Kentucky's quarterback kicker Delmar Hughes delivered winning money for the Wildcats as Vanderbilt scored early in the second quarter. And defensive end Bob Laws recovered fumble at Cats' 4-yard line. Fullback Jim Butler scooted around left in our next play for 6-0 the Commodores lead, but quarterback kicker Jimmy Travis missed kick. From then on, Vandy was kept deep in on end by 7 well-placed punts by Kentucky tackle punter Lou Michaels. Vandy gained 157 yards, lost 4 interceptions, 2 fumbles to Cats defense led by Michaels, tackle JT Frankenberger, and John Shively. Late in the second quarter, Shively got loose behind defensive backs to haul in a perfect 38-yard touchdown pass from sub by his choice quarterback Hughes, who added conversion kick. Hughes had begun year as starter but offered to come off bench because he and coaches felt he was more effective in that role. Alabama beat Tulane 13-7. A suddenly revived Alabama won its second in 3 games by rolling up 266 yards rushing and 113 yards passing. Clemson tied score on consecutive possessions in first half to lead 13-0. They went 64 yards in 9 plays that ended with halfback Don Comstock's 2-yard plunge on third play of second quarter as quarterback Bobby Smith sparked drive with 29 yards pass to end Don Owens. Tulane threatened right after the ensuing kickoff when quarterback Gene Newton burst 36 yards, but Bama held at its own 15-yard line as defensive end Owens halfback defensive back Jim Baldwin, I think is his name. And defensive back Smith made his big plays. Tide immediately went 85 yards, keyed by runs of Baldwin to halfback George Salem's short touchdown dive. Newton switched to halfback and caught perfect pass from quarterback Fred Wilcox over Alabama's defensive backs for 71-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. Next, we had number 15 Iowa beating Minnesota in a shutout 7-0. Wait a minute, hold it, me backtrack. Number 6 Minnesota, they are ranked in the top 10. Number 6 Minnesota was shut out by number 15 Iowa 7-0. So number 15 Iowa beat number 6 Minnesota 7-0. Number 15 Iowa beat number 6 Minnesota 7-0. So Iowa earned only its second win in the last 35 years in Minneapolis by exploiting early breaks and withstanding 55 minutes of Golden Gopher stat supremacy. Hawkeyes defensive end Frank Gilliam made early fumble recovery at Gopher's 38-yard line. And fullback Fred Harris scored 8 plays later from 1-yard line. Key gang leading to Iowa touchdown came on quarterback Ken Plowen's pinned ultimate pass of 7 yards to end Jim Gibbons. So Minnesota halfback Bob Schultz lost handle on 3 fumbles to ruin Gopher's chances. Charging mini quarterback Bobby Cox rushed for 53 yards on 16 carries, obtained 214 yards on ground, but Gopher's air game was forced to endure. Iowa halfback defensive back Bill Happel's 2 interceptions, including a critical pickoff of sub quarterback Dick Larson in third quarter at the Iowa 1-yard line. But this was Gophers' deepest probe of game. But Happel ran out of danger to Hawks' 27-yard line. So Iowa played nearly mistake-free football, enduring interception by quarterback Randy Duncan. Michigan State, number 4 team in the country, beat Purdue by a score of 12-9 as Michigan State used first half touchdowns by ends Harold Dukes and Tony Koladzic. Then thwarted persistent second half threats by Purdue, which played without injured star quarterback Lenny Dawson. Boilermakers scored in the last 47 seconds of the second quarter on a 10-yard catch by fullback Mel Dillard from quarterback Ted Zakowski. This made halftime score 12-7 for Spartans at halftime. So in the third quarter, Purdue held on downs at its 45-yard line, reached inside Spartans' 1-yard line, but bowlers were flagged by penalty and could make it only back to 2-yard line, where quarterback Bob Spoo's fourth down pass was broken up by Michigan State defensive back Danowski. Purdue on its way to 247 yards to 183 yards offense, controlled fourth quarter, twice reaching 20-yard line without further success. On Bowler's last advance with 1:31 to play, Michigan State halfback defensive back Blanche Martin grabbed interception but stumbled into and fumbled through end zone for the safety. So now we got Missouri and Colorado, where Colorado, the number 18 team in the country, faced Missouri, and this resulted in a 14-14 tie. Now, Golden Buffaloes all but locked up Orange Bowl bid as Big 7 Conference's runner-up, but were fortunate to waltz out of Columbia with tie. Fumbles, which had bedeviled Missouri 24 times so far in 1956, surfaced again to provide Colorado with short second-half touchdown marches of 37-34 yards. Tigers ran 47 plays to Buffalo's 17 in first half, but had only 7-point edge to show for it, as sub-fullback Joe Wynn scored in last minute of second quarter for 7-0 halftime lead. Colorado held twice at its 10-yard line and once at its 15-yard line as Mizzou rang up 361 yards, so 161 yards of offense advantage. Tigers went 80 yards after second half kickoff to halfback Hank Coleman's short touchdown run and 14-0 lead after Missouri halfback Sonny Stringer lost fumble in the third quarter. Buffaloes dusted off old single wing buck lateral pass on his quarterback Boyd Dowler found in Frank Clark all alone for 18-yard touchdown. The Tigers halfback Charlie James lost fumble in the fourth quarter to wingback defensive back Eddie Dove at 37-yard line, and drive was enhanced by Mizzou tackle defensive tackle Paul Browning's retaliatory penalty after he apparently was bitten on an arm. Dowler under center was a quick snap pass to Clark for another touchdown. Now, Texas Western beat Arizona State in a shutout, 28-0. Miners all but wrapped up their first Border Conference title with 5-0 loot record as they slapped Arizona State off unbeaten pedestal. Whip-it fast Miners made 288 yards rushing, mostly around flanks, as halfback Jimmy Bevers, Bob Coleman, and Don Maynard skirted ends of Arizona State all night. Arizona State was dealt its share of bad breaks. Opening Miners touchdown came on quarterback punter Bob Laraba's sneak at the field position was gained on Laraba's punt that bounced the end zone and hopped back out to Arizona State University 1-yard line. So also Devils gained 404 yards but marched to Texas Western 25, 21, 1, 28, 15, 21, 6, and 27-yard lines never gained a single point. These frustrations included 3 interceptions, fullback Joe Bellin's fumble into Miners end zone in the second quarter. So I got 3 more games to go. Oregon State, see if they was ranked. Oregon State, number 14 team in the country beat Stanford, the number 20 team in the country, by a score of 20-19. Number 14 Oregon State beat number 20 Stanford by a score of 20-19. Seeking Rose Bowl trip, Stanford quarterback John Brody alternated his passes with timely running of fullback Lou Valley to build 19-7 lead. Last touchdown coming late in third quarter on a 4-yard run by halfback Gordy Young. Indians' ongoing extra point issues prompted Brody to throw for conversion after Young's touchdown. Stanford had scored twice in the second quarter. Valley tied from 3-yard line on first play of second quarter, and Brody hit in Gary Van Golder with 27-yard pass to 3-yard line before rolling out around right in to score standing up. Each time, however, Tribe kicker Doug Dick missed the extra point, so the Beavers rallied after next kickoff when wingback Ernell Durden, who had 93 yards rushing on 12 carries, skittered all over the field with a 59-yard pass, and tailback Paul Lowe reversed his direction several times on a 9-yard touchdown run. Now trailing 19-14, Oregon State sent defensive end Norm Thiel rushing after Brody, who tried to for wide open halfback Paul Camera, but threw interception instead to fullback defensive back Tom Berry. Durden made 13-yard run on the 4th down, and Beavers tailback Joe Francis passed 23 yards to end Frank Negri for game-winning touchdown with 8:41 left. Now the upset win nearly locked up Beavers' first ever trip to Pasadena since their early Rose Bowl had come in 1942 and was played in Durham, North Carolina, but because of World War II bombing threat to West Coast. So now we got the Oregon Ducks, who played Washington State, and this game ended up in a tie, 7-7. Senior quarterback Tom Crabtree please chill Oregon homecoming crowd by a leading 8-play, 69-yard march in the second quarter to his 2-yard touchdown run. Now, during scoring voyage, Crabtree took off on a 43-yard dash to Washington State 6-yard line. Ducks amassed 223 yards rushing, while Crabtree and his sub quarterback Jack Crabtree, no relation, mixed in short passes for 10 for 19 for 93 yards passing and an interception. So although Oregon had better of play, the Cougars struck swiftly to tie it on third snap of fourth quarter. Wazoo quarterback Bobby Newman flipped short pass to end Bill Steiger, who spun away from tackle and outran 3 Ducks defenders for a stunning 79-yard touchdown. Split back kicker Ron Hare told wobbling kick that barely flopped over crossbar into end deadlock that held up throughout quiet fourth quarter. And finally, to conclude the week that was for week 8, November 10, 1956, UCLA, number 19 team in the country, beat Washington 13-9. In Seattle's characteristic cold November rain, halfback kicker Dean Dorby personally put Washington into 9-0 lead by kicking 22-yard field goal in the first quarter and adding 6-yard touchdown burst off left tackle 2 minutes into the second quarter from the left side. Now, Derby's field goal was placed in motion by masterful punt to 2-yard line by guard punter Dick Day. Now, Huskies earned the first and goal at the 4-yard line, but 5-yard penalty and Bruins defensive end Dick Wallen's pass block forced 3-point try. So halfback Luther Carr caught the 41-yard pass from quarterback Al Ferguson to set up Derby's touchdown. UCLA, blocking back linebacker Don Shinnick, got them back in the game at 13-9 with 1-yard touchdown smash and extra point kick in second quarter after fluke block punt gained from them possession at Washington 2-yard line. Tailback punter Kurt Wilson had dropped a 54-yard punt dead inches from Washington goal line. When Huskies end punter Dick McVeigh tried to return punt, his punt smacked Ferguson squarely in his back. UCLA Shinnick recovered 2 yards from the end zone. So early in the second quarter, Bruins fashioned their only drive of day as they traveled 48 yards to tailback Kirk Wilson's 11-yard touchdown to in Hal Smith. So with Wallen making brilliant 32-yard catch along the way, amazingly UCLA totaled only 6-yard offense in the first half. So the Huskies managed fourth quarter drive from their 10-yard line, but on fourth down at the Bruins' 27-yard line, guard linebacker Esker Harris stopped halfback Luther Carr. So that concludes a look at the week that was from November 10th, 1956. Week 8, November 10th, 1956. So let's look at the AP poll as of November 12th. The number 1 team in the country was Tennessee. Number 2 was Oklahoma. Number 3 was Michigan State. Number 4 was Georgia Tech. Number 5, Texas A&M. Number 6, Ohio State. Number 7, Iowa. Number 8, Miami. Number 9, Syracuse. Number 10, Michigan. Number 11, Oregon State. Number 12, Florida. 13, Clemson. 14, Southern California. 15, Navy. Number 16, Pittsburgh. Number 17, Minnesota. Number 18, George Washington. Number 19, Mississippi. And number 20, Princeton. So that concludes a look at week number 8. The week that was college football's history in review. The 1956 college football season. Hope you can support, like, subscribe, comment on this part series of obviously this channel, this video in general, everything, all the above across the board. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll do a video dealing with this part series tomorrow. Until then, talk to you tomorrow.